problems or problem solving. And when we talk about getting stuck with it, I get the sense of it being, oh, I'm always this or I'm always that, right? Because sometimes we
Immobilizing
gravitate.
stuck, or
Yeah. Sometimes we gravitate to one or the other, like somebody getting stuck with problems. I can think of many people in my life. Maybe I get stuck with problem solving. Oh my goodness, that's us. We're over.
Done. Thanks very much. Yeah. Well, I used to be known as a Cooper because my surname's Cooper. Cooper Pooper Scooper. And it was literally someone goes, "Oh, you're the Cooper Pooper Scooper," and I'm like, "A what?" Say that again. They're like, "Cooper Pooper Scooper." I'm like, "What is that?" They're like, "You just scoop up other people's problems. You just go behind them and you fix it. You scoop." And I was like, "Oh my God, great."
Debz is a stressologist. She will stretch your mindset to think bigger than you've ever thought before, with follow-through techniques that are realistic and achievable to blow any fear out of your mind. Moira is a mindset cultivator. She will help you align your personal trinity of self-trust, inner awareness, and self-confidence so that you discover and share your unique gifts and purpose. Together, their goal with these conversations is to share how our inclinations do not always work in our best interest and to provide the knowledge to leverage the gifts that already exist within each one of us. Their desire is to help you learn how to access the habits and behaviors that will lead to positive change and your best quality of life. Welcome to your deliciously motivated mindset.
Welcome, dear friends. Welcome, Deb.
Oh, welcome.
Here we are with another one of my favorite things to do in a week. It's our Deliciously Motivated Mindset podcast conversation. I so love these conversations, and I trust that our listeners get to laugh, to learn, to feel more comfortable, more confident, and ease. That's basically what we're doing here. But, dear listeners, we've got a goodie for you. But of course, I know you're just going to roll your eyes because I think
I know. I think I clapped when I was like, "Oh, this is I
think it's going to be a really good one.
Totally celebrate all our topics. Yeah,
definitely, and we do. We celebrate every single one of them.
We do.
Can't help it.
We do. Yeah.
But before we get stuck in today's juicy topic, if you've listened to us before, you know that we like to do a wee check-in. And if you haven't listened to us before, welcome. We like to do a check-in.
Yeah. Hello.
So what we're doing with this check-in is we're kind of checking in to see how are we doing? How are we feeling? And we assess ourselves on a scale of 0 to 10. 10 being stuck on a crazy train, chaotic, not quite sure what to do, whether up is up and down is down or any of that kind of stuff. And 0 is feeling totally peaceful, present, poised, zen out. We say 0 is for zen. And the truth is, as we move up and down this scale, and it's just an assessment tool to just really honor and be telling yourself the truth. Where are you? How are you doing? What's going on? And how, it's sometimes just by telling yourself that allows you to move with a little bit more ease, even if you are closer to a 10.
I love when you talk about the PEMS, the pillars of the PEMS, because as soon as you can go, oh, that makes sense. No wonder I'm like this, or no wonder this has got me, or no wonder I'm feeling energetically low today rather than yesterday.
Yeah.
So just my favorite is Moira talking about the PEMS.
So the PEMS, so when we're doing that check-in, I like to think of the PEMS. So that stands for physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. And so if I say to you, how are you doing? Then you want to check in with your physical body. How does your body feel? How are you feeling emotionally? What's going on in your mind? What have you got chattering monkey in your head? And what's your connection to your higher self or your sense of source energy or something more powerful than you? What's it like? And so that's what this assessment 0 to 10 is all about. And just being peaceful with whatever is going on for you. All that being said, my dear, where are you today?
1.
Okay. I'm going to put myself at a 2. So Deb's at a 1 and I'm at a 2. I'm at a 2. I've just got a wee bit of a scratchy throat going on. So let's see.
Oh,
Haha.
I love the topic.
I do too.
The topic is a blooming good topic. Yeah.
Topic is awesome. We're talking today, and I know that you already know this, but we're talking about, do you get stuck with problems or problem solving? Problems or problem solving. And when we talk about getting stuck with it, I get the sense of it being, oh, I'm always this or I'm always that, right? Because sometimes we gravitate. Sometimes we gravitate to one or the other, you know, like somebody getting stuck with problems. I can think of many people in my life. Maybe I get stuck with problem solving. Oh my goodness, that's us. We're over.
Done. Thanks very much. Yeah. Well, you know, I used to be known as a Cooper because my surname's Cooper. Cooper Pooper Scooper. And it was literally someone goes, "Oh, you're the Cooper Pooper Scooper," and I'm like, "A what?" Say that again. They're like, "Cooper Pooper Scooper." I'm like, "What is that?" They're like, "You just scoop up other people's problems. You just go behind them and you fix it. You scoop." And I was like, "Oh my God, great." I actually quite like that, but I don't like that. So Cooper Pooper Scooper, I'm a problem solver.
That's cute. Because I am definitely a problem solver myself. Yeah. Can't help it.
Yeah. Well, because you hear someone say something, you're like, "Oh God, if you only did that." And you're like, "Hang on, no, don't say anything. Just wait till they ask before you jump."
Yes, exactly.
What a great topic.
So why don't you kick us off with your first tip on this?
So I'm going to say we all have a bit of both. We all have a bit of problems, and that is and we have a problem-solving solution in us. We all have a bit of both, and that's down to our PEMS. I'm literally going to say recognize your PEMS, because when you go, so let's just go to a simple thing like plaiting my daughter's hair when she was younger. Let's go to a simple thing. That's not simple for some people who never plaited hair. Now, that's a problem. And so when you have so much of a problem, you then go, okay, I've got to get to a problem solution because I'm frustrated with it. But today I could plait her hair perfectly. By the way, my daughter's 22. It's not happening now. But yesterday I couldn't because we were running late. I slept in. This is what happened. So when your PEMS are out of order, you may not be able to recognize your problem-solving abilities. And that's what I'm talking about.
That's a really good point. And so it's actually about being true to yourself, being real, being honest with yourself. That if you're running on, if your tank's empty, you haven't had enough sleep for you haven't had enough sleep, or you're starving hungry, or that you may be more focused on a problem and without recognizing your problem solving capacity.
All you can see is the weeds over the flowers. So when Moira talked about the PEMS at the start, that's a really great recognition of going, oh, that makes sense. And it doesn't mean those PEMS are going to stay the way they are. It does not mean you're going to stay at an 8 all day.
No.
Because as soon as you recognize it, you go, oh, and then you can carry on without you knowing, just by even recognizing and acknowledging it, and it's not right or wrong, it's just like, oh, that's what it is. Then it's already started healing anyway. So you've got to go from that 8 to a 6 or an 8 to a 7 because you've just gone, oh, that makes sense. And
because it's not unconscious anymore.
Yes.
It's not unconscious anymore. And you kind of go, oh, okay, get it. I don't need to be concerned or like, why? We're not supposed to ask why anyways. We don't.
Yeah, but it is that whole, why me? Yeah. But so my number one tip is look at your PEMS. Recognize your PEMS. And be okay with your PEMS, because it is just a number. It's just a number. Just a number. It's not in concrete that it has to be that number for the rest of your life. Like, you don't have to be blonde for the rest of your life. You don't have to be a brunette for the rest of your life. Like all these little things. It's just, that's it. Until you decide to change. But it's just that makes sense. And then there's the ease of the shoulders to go, oh, okay, I get it.
Peace. Coming into peace. I love it.
Yeah, totally. So recognize that and acknowledge it.
So the tip that I want to share here is if, let's say you are have a propensity to get saddled with more problems or focus more on the problem without thinking, where's the solution? There's a truism, and I actually don't know where I learned this, but it said, maybe it was an Einstein thing, but the whole point being that for a problem to exist, the solution must already exist. And so because one can't exist without the other. So sometimes if all I can see is the problem, then really what it is about is that I need to surrender and say, okay, I have this problem, or I see this problem. I need to create some space. Maybe look at my physical, emotional, mental, spiritual well-being, but also acknowledge the solutions around here. The solution is in existence. So I'm going to invite it to come in.
So would that be a trust?
Yes, definitely.
Trust
Most definitely. Trust.
Hey, trust. There's a problem. There's always a solution. If you can see
so there's a problem.
Yeah.
I trust there is the solution, and I know it's there. I trust I'll recognize it when it shows up, or when it's
it's ready to be delivered to me.
Yes, or when I'm
because there's
I'm
somebody
ready
working
to say,
behind the scenes, putting things together. It's like, and I'm not going to say your guardian angel is just watching, going, just another 3 days, darling, another 3 days, and you'll be fine.
Yep.
You'll laugh at this. Another 3 days. That's all it's going to take. That's that whole. But I do like that surrender to create that space.
Yeah. Because that's the thing, and actually I've done it so many times where I would, if somebody, because this is getting more into the creative, intuitive, right brain aspect of all of us, is I can't be logical and rational and tell you, oh, these are the steps. This is the solution, is step 1, step 2, step 3. Can't do it.
Well, also,
but I can also say I am intuitive, and I know, and I trust myself that when it starts, I'll say, hey, I'm just stepping into step 1, and I know this is part of the actual resolution of this problem. Right?
Yeah. 100%. Well, I was going to add something into that, but I'm actually going to do it as a different tip. And it's my favorite P word. Moira's like, I know what that is. It came up in 2020, and it's called pivot.
Pivot. I love pivot.
Pivot. So you know how to plait your daughter's hair. I'm just going to do the same scenario. You know how to plait your daughter's hair, but someone shows you a quicker way. Do you go, oh, there's a quicker way to do that, or do you stay wherever it is? So if you can't plait and someone shows you a quicker way, I'm all for that. I'm all for an easier, quicker solution to everything, and I listen. But some I take on board and some I don't. So it's being flexible enough to pivot.
Yes.
And I guess that comes down to that ego or humble. Oh, but I don't like that person who told me that. It doesn't matter if it's going to help your life. Yeah, so I guess it does come back to that ego or humble. But pivot is, just know that just because steps are 1, 2, 3, 4, sometimes you may only have to do 1 to 2. Yeah. And it's done. So like, just know, pivot. Oh, okay, well, I can do this one. Or if that's not going to work, I'll try this one. Right. So it's about being flexible, moving the goalposts, all those sort of things.
I like that. It's being in flow. Being in flow, then it means too that you can move forward in your right rhythm, right? So it's like, okay, so in your example about doing the hair, well, maybe this new method actually allows you to do it in half the time.
I'm all for that. But if people go, oh, but I don't like the person who told me, it's like, okay, well, carry on doing the same thing you're doing for the rest of your life. Don't look at anything. Yeah. And I do think that is that flow. Ego. Yeah, totally. and just being okay with, oh, I can turn here, or I can do this, or whatever. And if it doesn't work, fine. You've learned something. Go back. But I think that's that whole just being able to be in flow. And 2020 100% taught us that. Is just as much as you can, because everybody else had a decision on something that was far greater than us anyway.
The next tip I want to discuss, and I'm just making myself a wee note here, is
she's just added something to her list. I can tell that what that means.
The thing I was just thinking of is about the tip I would like to say is to encourage you to own your process and your experience, because if we get stuck, and to your point, Deb, you said as tip number one there that we have a bit of both. We all have a propensity to get stuck with problems and a propensity to get stuck with problem solving. There's a caveat in here, though, that when you own your own process and you find out that you're always going into problem solving mode, and I'm speaking from my own experience here.
That's why she made the note.
That's why I made the note. Is that if we take on the role of problem solving for everyone around us, we say, oh, there's a problem. Oh, all you have to do is this, this, this.
Oh, yeah.
And then, oh, there's somebody else. Oh, you have to just do this, this, this. So I used to do that a lot. Like, oh, you don't have to suffer through that or worry about it because it's just really easy. It's really easy. You just need to do this. Until one day I was actually having a mentoring process on me. And my mentor was saying, he was reflecting back to me, this is what I do. That I see problems in everybody and I'll say, oh, see, you just need to do this. And he says, Moira, you have to stop it.
That stuff got me into a wheelchair. That whole
yeah,
thing,
well, that's the whole point. But in his point to me was that I'm actually denying people's flow into finding that balance or the lesson or the solution.
That's that trust again too.
It is. Yeah, so it really helped me. So I love the coaching work I do and I will hold space, but I cannot be the problem solver for all things, because that's then taking away responsibility from somebody else's experience, right?
Well, I remember a coach saying to me, well, what would you do if you coached that person? And I was like, oh, this, and this. I'm like, so why are you not doing it? I'm like, okay, good call. Yeah, I don't like you anymore. It's not cool. It's not cool at all. You lured me in. You lured me in very quickly. But when they asked you that, you answer that quickly and you go, this, and this. And they're like, mm-hmm. And then you're like, oh, I heard that. Okay, yeah.
That was
good
for
one.
me. That was for me. Yeah.
and that's it. And you're right, because I remember Mum saying, don't run across the road, you're going to get hit by a truck. In fact, I was talking to someone yesterday about this. Don't run across the road, you get hit by a truck. And as a young age, I'm like, I've never seen a truck on this street.
Right.
Like, never.
Right.
And so I thought my mum was a liar, because she said, don't run across the road, you're going to get hit by a truck. And I'm like, how's the truck going to appear out of nowhere if I'm running across the road? So I would test it. And so I thought my mother was a liar. Now, in reality, if she'd said something, that's an old-fashioned saying. If she said something like, maybe, don't run across the road, you could get hit. Right. I would then go, what's going to hit me? An orange, a bike, a car? I would think of all these things, but I would be more aware than going, oh, there's no trucks around, I can run across the road.
Right.
But it's an old-fashioned saying that we say these things and we don't really think. But my little logical brain went, well, I've never seen a truck down here, so I can still run then. Like, I'm never gonna. I've never. Yeah, and it is that whole don't run across the road or you could get hit. I go orange. Who's going to hit me? Because I remember getting hit by an orange. Someone threw an orange at me. So that's where I go. I'm going to get hit with an orange or a car? Maybe not on the road. I don't know. But it is those things. And so, yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's the old watch what you're saying too.
Yeah, definitely. and to because to your point, so it's like, which age group are you speaking to? Right, because to a child age, that kind of thing will be taken literally. Your mom,
I did take it literally.
Yeah.
and I was left with, I can still run across the road because there's never any trucks here.
Yeah,
was my mind.
Yeah.
And Mum, you're a liar. You're actually a liar, Mum, because I've never seen trucks down here. So how can I, But watch that wording. Watch that wording that gets said around us.
Well, because certain wording can create problems, basically, right?
Yeah, well, that's what it is. It's other people's stories, and they pass us on a story. Don't do this because this could happen to you. This, and this, and you're like, what? I didn't know that could happen. What?
Right.
It's when you anybody.
I wasn't ever going to entertain that as a problem.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that. Yeah, because that's your stuff, not me. And when somebody says something to you like, "Oh, don't you worry about that," which is there are other people. Don't you worry that that person's going to dabble outside the relationship, and you're like, "No," and you say it very quickly. No, there's when you say it very quickly, there's actually an internal thing to go, I'm denying that. So assess yourself and relook at that stuff. When you go, no, not at all, there's a little trigger that you've just gone, no, I'm not. And it's not, when people go, do you want that? No, I don't want that. So I don't know if that's the ego against versus the humble. So if somebody says that, it's like, no. And then you hear yourself respond very quickly, then it's like, okay, there might be something I probably need to have a little look at here because I responded so reactively to them.
But don't you think too, though, as soon as you said that, it made me think, what's going on with the other person that they asked
Oh,
that?
100% because of you and I think about human behavior and we're like,
It's like,
what's going on in your world that you've
why are
said
you asking me that?
Yeah. Well, that's when you have someone who's been separated for so long and someone goes, oh, you need to take him to the cleaners or her to the
Yeah,
cleaners because when
yeah.
I was 17, my boyfriend did this to me and I'm 70 now and I can't ever love again because of that. And it's like, whoa,
It's
okay,
like,
good on you,
really
love.
held on to that story, didn't you?
Yeah. How's that working for you? Clearly good that you're holding on to that and trying to pass it. Yeah, so those other people's stories. But I find if you respond very quickly, then it's like, oh, hang on, let me just double check. Let me just double
No, and I
check if
get
that's
that. I do get
100%.
that. Yeah.
Actually, no, I do feel okay.
Mhm.
And then definitely let it go. Don't hold on to this stuff. And when I say check, that's just a 30-second check. This is not
Definitely.
let me
Just
find my pen.
yeah,
Let
hand
me find
hand on
my
your heart, hand on your heart, just breathe. That's it. That's all you need.
yeah, is this my truth? Yeah, it
Mhm.
is. Okay, great. So I'm not saying don't go find that quiet spot with a pen and paper and put your phone on mute and get your little water and light your candle and sit down and like nothing wrong with all that. But trust me, hand on heart, breathe. Is this the truth? No, it's not. There's nothing coming up. Great. Thank you. Goodbye.
You're
Carry
good.
on.
Yeah.
Yep. But
Yep.
if you want to go sit in the corner and get your candle lit and do your internal
Do the whole
dialogue,
process. That's okay too.
go for it. Or if you want to just cut out all that time and just tick it off in 20 seconds, hand on heart.
Absolutely. But that's the
Yep.
thing too, is that, when we are navigating, and let's face it, we all navigate problems and problem solving. But I think another really important tip is if you're in a problem, let's say, a really good, we're just talking about hand on heart. Another check here too would be, what's mine to do in this? What is mine to do?
What's my
Do?
role?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a problem. Well, actually, what mine is to
That's
do
it.
is
Stay in
to
your
write
lane,
it
isn't
down.
it?
Yeah.
Not my, what is it?
Where's your
Not my
where's your
monkey, not my
responsibility?
circus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where's your your responsibility? What's the action item that you need to do? Maybe part of it is saying, this is my zone of expertise. This is my part of this issue. So I'm going to own that and I'm going to operate on, like, I'm going to work on those pieces, but then I'm going to deputize and hand off the other aspects of it to the people that are in the collective issue, if you like. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I was just thinking of something and look, we've just had Christmas and we know Christmas is a time for joy and tears.
Mhm.
Joyful tears and also chaos tears, because family or blood or others can stir things up. And when we talk about where's your responsibility, if you've got family members who have invited you and you didn't go or you had to go or something, and you've still got that that glitch going on,
Mhm.
it's not your monkey, not your circus. If your two sisters don't talk to each other, that's them.
Yep.
Don't even try and get involved. Don't try and mend bridges because they're grown as much as they are grown ass adult. Grown ass, say that. So I've got a lovely boy who just said to me, his partner's family have just uninvited. So hang on, her family are having conflict. So there's a sister and her, and they were all doing Christmas together, and they were going back. She was traveling her 5 hours to go there, and he just said to me the other day, or he texted me and said, "Can we talk?" her family have just uninvited her for Christmas because the other sister's doing her thing, and so they're pretty much taking sides for the other sister.
Right.
And he says, it's so hard. I want to message the mother, I want to message the father, I want to message the sister. He goes, it's not fair, because he's very family orientated. And my head is instantly, not your monkey, not your six. He goes, yes, but I'm dealing with it at home. And I'm like, I know you are. Invite your daughter, whoops, invite your girlfriend to your family, because your would like, don't go there, don't message the parents, they're making their own decisions. And he's like, but Deborah, and I'm like, mate, you're 22, listen to me, I don't tell you what to do, but listen to me. Do not text the family, do not text the mum, do not text the dad, do not text the girlfriend of the sister and say, what are you all doing, this is horrible, you know, I've got a grumpy girlfriend at home. Don't. It's not your monkey, not your circus. Create that amazing environment for her with your family. Anyway, I said, tell your mum what the other family have done, and she will lavish and spoil your girlfriend way more than her birth mum. And he's like, oh, I wouldn't normally tell mum those things. I said, oh, just tell her. Who cares? I said, but maybe, then I went, okay, maybe you might want to check with your girlfriend first if it's okay to tell your mum. But the girlfriend's hurt, which I 100% understand.
Yeah, truly.
But this is not yours to fix because your girlfriend is hurt. This is, you can just mend certain things, but you cannot get involved in that. And I know Christmas is past, but that's a beautiful example. And he's like, I'm just going to ring her. I'm not even going to text her. And he read the text, and I went, stop. The moment he was 1 minute in reading, I said stop, because I don't even know how much longer it was. but he's like, I'm so upset, I'm so hurt. I'm like, it's not yours. It's not yours. And I think that's that. You said, where's your responsibility? That's exactly it. Your responsibility is first yourself, it's him, and then to help his girlfriend with whatever decision she makes,
right,
without taking anything away from her.
A quick wee message before we get back to this episode. You can get access to a special gift Moira and Debz have put together for you. Go to deliciouslymotivatedmindset.com/gift. When you sign up, you'll receive instant access to an inner peace kit and the 30 Days of Wisdom program, both of which is intended to help you feel deliciously motivated right away. Go to deliciouslymotivatedmindset.com/gift.
I think to your point, I think it is very healthy to, when you're experiencing your own, like he's having indignation, I would call that, right? Like, how dare you, and blah, blah, blah. I think it's great for him to write it down and to express it. Just don't send it.
Just like I said to him, you put it into your notes. And so I'll actually just say, we're pre-recording this before Christmas, so that's why it's actually just come up. So I said we're now got after Christmas, but we haven't. We're recording this, talking about this pre-recording before Christmas. In case you're like, we've
just jumped into the future.
Yeah, we just jumped to the future because Christmas. So we're having a little pause between Moira and I recording. So that's why we're doing what we're doing. But it is. I said to him, I said, do not type it into your message. Put it into your notes. He's like, oh, is that how you do all your things? I'm like, yes, my notes are full. And then I copy and paste when I'm done or when I'm ready to send it, whatever time. But it is that absolutely he's letting it out. And I think that's don't bottle it up.
Yeah, I think that's super important. Don't bottle it up, but release it appropriately. Because like you're saying, it's not for him to go in and fix them or tell them or try and get involved. It's like,
and I understand, because family is
me
so,
too.
He would drop a hat for any family member, like he's that family focused in the zone. So I understand it's happening. And I just said, like I said to him, I said, how's it enhancing your world with your partner? He goes, it's not. She's grumpy, she comes home. And I'm like, no, how's it enhancing?
Right.
And I said to him, how many benefits can you get out of this? And in fact, we're talking this afternoon, so I will let you know more how we go. But how many benefits out of this can you find that it's actually helping you? Instead of looking at the problem solution is actually look how it's enhancing your world. Look at the gratitude it's actually giving you both.
Well, and then also to look at his own family background of how much he appreciates that. Right?
Well, he did say we said we're going on Boxing Day. She would have been up there, and so he's going down to his family, and then he has to go back to his reality, and then to her, or back to his house, and then so he had to drive 9 hours on Boxing Day to get to her.
Oh wow.
And if she had stayed there for Christmas.
Right.
And I said, let's just look at the cost of that. Let's look at the time in the car, you on your own on this Christmas crazy day when people are all out driving, whereas you can wake up and there she is, Christmas Boxing Day at your house, and you don't have to go up there for any of that. And he's like, okay, you got me on the cost. You got me on the cost in the driving in the car, because he doesn't like driving in the car long distance anyway.
Right.
It's like, now you need to do some more benefits. But yeah, but it is. Yeah. Where's your responsibility? I love that one.
Where's your responsibility? And I actually love what you're saying too about look at the benefits. Look at the benefits of doing this, and look at the benefits of not doing it. Right? This actually makes me think of one of my favorites, and I know it's one of your favorites too, is that whole thing about the 3 questions. Asking those 3 questions is such a beautiful way to step into that. Is this problem mine to solve or not? So you ask yourself, is this solution or this idea to resolve this problem, is it good for me? Yes or no? Is it good for the other or the others? Yes or no? And do I want to? Yes or no? Yeah. All 3 of them must be yes for it to really be the solution or that problem solving. If any 3 of those 3 are no, it's not the solution.
No, cut that. Yeah. And even if you go, oh, but it's a 2.5. No.
Nope.
It's still a no. But you can go in on a 2.5, but you might have a different experience if you go into it.
Exactly. It's not fun. It's going to unravel at some point.
You will have a different experience. It was me being soft. Yeah. Yep, those 3 questions, they're sitting in a little, as soon as you went, oh, the questions, I went, I know what they are. Even though I know them, they're on a little post-it note with a pink heart on my computer.
I love that.
Yeah, on the far right. Whose tip is it? Is it yours or mine?
Well, that was me that just interjected 3 questions.
Oh, okay, right. So it's mine. You get stuck. Okay, so my one, do you get stuck with problems or problem solving? My thing is, don't beat yourself up.
Oh, that's a good one. Super important. Yes.
Yep. Don't be it's okay to be looking at problems, and it's okay to problem solve. Just, it's okay. It's okay to
just
be
tell
okay.
yourself the truth and see where you are. Yeah.
Don't, because they go, oh, all I ever do is have to deal with problems. All I have to do is, and so actually, when I think about that, don't beat yourself up. The last one we looked at was gratitude and the 3 questions. And where's your responsibility? If you do the 6 tips before that, you're not going to beat yourself up. But if number 1 is don't, so maybe number 1 needs to be don't beat yourself up. Yep. Because if you do these tips prior to this, you're not going to beat yourself up. I don't believe. Well, you might just prove me wrong, but really, I don't want to know about it. But don't beat yourself up, because it's a problem. And knowing that's that whole thing of trust, that all problems have a solution, whatever that is. So it's okay. It's okay. And if it takes you longer, that's okay too. So don't beat yourself up with the situation we're in. And I'm going to bring in that gratitude word again. Celebrate where you're at, celebrate where you're not at in your mind. Celebrate what you have, celebrate what you don't have. Celebrate who you have around you, celebrate who you don't have around you.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I like that. I think it is important to bring that conversation in here about the not beating yourself up, because even if you had followed all these tips, sometimes we can beat ourselves up if we haven't just assessed where are we. Right? We might be comparing ourselves to somebody else, or we might be comparing ourselves to a younger version of ourselves. Oh, it used to take me so much less time to do such and such, and now look at me. And sort of thinking that we have to be performing at a specific level all the time. So it's about where I'm coming with on that is that sometimes we can get into a cycle of beating ourselves up because we're listening to a story in our head that's not true anymore.
Yeah, or someone else's story. Yeah,
Or somebody else's story. Absolutely. So what story are you listening to if that's what's coming up, right?
yeah. Actually, even that's a tip on its own. Did we not talk stories? Yeah, what story's coming to you?
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. What story's coming to you? Or what? Yeah, what's
Coming at you.
okay, coming at you? What's the inner critic telling you that you should? And I'm putting my quotation mark fingers up. You should be getting through this faster, or you shouldn't even be in this situation.
It's so funny. It's so funny when I say to someone, I say, so what's your problem? Or where's your chaos or whatever it is? And they go, well, I've got to do this, but I've got to do this. And then I should be doing this and I ought to be doing this and I have to do this. And you're just like, oh my God, who is telling you all that? And they're like, no. They're like, no, it's just me. And I'm like, BS to that. No, you've just said should, have to, ought to, need to. Like you've gone to
the red flag words.
Yeah. And I just go, there's another one. Oh, there's another one. And just in that 1 minute you've told me that there's somebody telling you what to do. Very quickly with that, you realize that you've done it. And I'm like, okay, I know where we're going today.
Yeah.
but that inner critic can be an outer critic having their opinion.
Yes. Yeah. And so maybe that's a little pause for you to just say, whose opinion is this? Whose opinion is this? And is it true? Even if it's yours, it could still be yours, and it's not really true, right?
Yeah, and that's just that hand on heart again. Hand on heart, hand on heart, hand on heart.
Definitely. Yeah.
Whose tip is it? I don't even know whose tip. Listen to me. Whose tip is it, Moira?
I don't know. Well, we just talked about story. What story is coming up for you? So, do you know another tip here too?
No, tell us.
What's that?
I said, no, tell us.
And I talked a wee bit about it before, about in order for a problem to exist, the solution already exists. But the other part of it too is to remember your own resilience, that we are never in any types of situation that we cannot get through, even if we cannot see it when we're sitting in that. So if you're sitting in something, you're like, oh my God, I don't know how to get through this, or how I can deal with this, or what's the solution, or if there's light at the end of the tunnel, is to just be present. And again, we're going to bring trust factor into here again, but the truth is we are never in a situation that we cannot deal with. Otherwise, we wouldn't be there. And sometimes that in itself can help you reset and be sort of facing solutions rather than problems, but also then realize what's my next step to take. Right?
Yeah, it's funny. I shouldn't say it's funny, it's not funny, but it is that whole, you've been in situations before and you've survived. Like, yes, it may have been, like pushing yourself through a pipe wiring and, it's a bit of a squeeze, or it was a bit painful or whatever, definitely. But at the end of the day, you've been through it and you're here to tell the tale.
To tell the story.
So that, I love that. Remember your own
resilient. One of my favorite words.
Oh, I had a V in front of it and I'm like, remember your own V, but it's my R that didn't quite go to an R. I was like, resilience. What does that mean?
What's that word? Making up a new word.
I think when we think about all these, I love that. Remember your own resilience. Yeah. Just don't forget where you've been and where you're going. Yeah. Yeah. All these here are that word trust.
They are.
I just had a quick scan on this and I just went trust, and I had to laugh because my computer often doesn't make noises. I say that, but when you said trust, I don't know if did you hear it?
No, I didn't.
Oh,
no.
Oh, you didn't. Okay, it went and I went, yes, trust. And
then I went, confirmation.
I know. And so I looked at all these tips we've got and I went, they're all trust.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
So if we wanted to cut this podcast down to one tip or one 5-minute thing, trust. Trust.
And
Trust.
that actually reminds me of a tip about trust that I've often said to clients and
okay.
students is trust is an inside job.
Oh yeah, I know that one. Yeah.
So trust always begins internally.
Mm.
And then you can trust the circles around you, right? So
Yeah.
if you ever start saying, well, I can't trust that person, whoops, you got to step back in and say, what is it you don't trust about you?
Yeah. Damn.
Oopsie.
Whoops. Yeah. Alrighty. I think you got any other tips before we wrap up, because these
No,
people
I
will be
think
on here for a
that
day.
that last one,
Okay.
that yeah, no. Trust is an inside job. That was my last one.
Perfect. And it is. 100%. I love when she says that. It just reminds me, and I'm like, yes, how did I forget that? Actually, I could probably put that on my whiteboard. Although I do believe it and know it, I probably just don't talk about it. Social media post, you might just get a post about that. Okay, so let's go back and wrap up where we're at. Did everyone get a pen and paper? Because if you didn't write things down, you just want to catch these ones right now.
Yep, we're going to recap so you can write down any ones you missed.
Frantically, that's the one. So do you want to kick this one off, Moira, with number one?
Sure
Which
thing.
is your favourite?
This is my favourite. So we were talking about, do you get stuck with problems or problem solving? And we kicked it off by saying we actually all have a bit of both within us. We, in order to navigate through this, it's so important to check in with what we call our PEMs. So you check in physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. Where are you? And that gives you a sense of, have I got this problem that I just say, okay, it is what it is, or can I navigate through and shift into problem solving mode?
Yeah. And the two words I have was, well, actually 3 words, was recognize and acknowledge.
Yes.
Yeah. I love that. Number 2 I've written down was surrender to create space.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually just want to add another little tip to that. When you surrender is not failure. I just have to say this because someone mentioned, but when you surrender, you're failing at what you're doing. I'm like, no, you're pivoting. Yeah, which is my third.
That's the next one down.
Yeah. No, you're not. You're not failing. You're actually just going, okay, I can do this. I can do this way. Like, so it's surrendering to create that space, because sometimes you can look at something over and over and over again and you can't see it. But the moment you've just stepped back and you've taken that, and then you go back to it. Like people say, when you forget something and you're walking around, you're like, I forgot what I was doing. And you go back to the same spot you're in.
Yeah.
Like, that's where I remembered it. So it's just going, okay, that's not a failure. It's actually going, okay, I'll go back there. Oh, now I know what it is. Or I look at something, because sometimes you can look at something very differently when you've taken, I'm just going to go to the toilet, I'm going to go outside and take some fresh air, I'm going to take a drink of water, or I'm going to, whatever it is, or I'm just going to offload to a friend and come back. And when you come back, you're like, oh my God, that solution is sitting right there in front of me. Because you've just allowed yourself and respected yourself not to stay on that hamster wheel.
Yep, absolutely. Do you know, I was, as you were explaining that, I was thinking that, to me, the idea of surrender is encouraging us to remember to have a light hold on everything, because we can tend to be a wee bit of control freaky about that.
Actually, yes, I like that.
Have to figure it out. But it also reminds me of that saying that says, we make plans and God laughs. Have you heard that saying before? So that to me is saying it's because we can't surrender to allow the flow of source energy to come through us, and everything's fine. Everything's taken care of. All is well in my world. Thank you very much. That's surrender, right?
Well, Moira and I we had an amazing topic we were going to talk about today.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about in a casual conversation, let's do that as a topic. But we could not nail the exact subject line. We knew what we wanted to talk. We could not. Everything was too wordy or too short or something. So we probably spent 4 or 5 minutes trying to do it.
Oh, probably more than that, but yep.
Yeah. And then we went, let's not do it today.
Yeah.
And I have to giggle because we literally both just went, let's not do it today. We can't nail it. It's fine.
Yep.
But I guarantee when we go back and think about that, when we're both in different energetic, we're going to go, there's the saying. Yep. That's the title. And we just completely surrendered. Now, did we fail? No. We just went, oh, we're creating space. Let's talk. And so clearly we're talking about this. Do you
The
get
tips
stuck
that
with
we're doing.
problems or
Absolutely.
Yeah, which is funny. It's funny. But that's that whole surrender part.
I love it.
Yeah. Your turn to say what it is.
So the next one
See,
is
look,
your
see,
favorite. One of your
I
favorite.
can't even
words.
keep track of who's doing what.
I know you've done that. That's funny. But the next tip that I had written down was your favorite word. One of your favorite P words is pivot. Pivot, being flexible, and I was saying being in flow. So like not really getting caught up in it has to be done this way. It's about be aware that if you do something in a specific way and that's your way of solving it, and then somebody else says, oh, how about this? Try it on. Pivot.
Yeah.
Check it out. Might be better, might not be, but you'll know when you go and try it on.
You don't have to attach yourself to that outcome. Again, surrender to create that space. You don't have to go, okay, I'm going to do this and it has to be this way. No, just pivot. Try it.
Yeah.
Works or doesn't work. Yep.
Yep.
The catalyst of all our topic today, trust.
Yes.
Trust.
That's the thread that's woven through all these tips.
That's definitely woven through. And that was that trust them with their genius.
Yes.
Trust that they can get themselves through. Trust that they have to fall over. Don't walk because you're going to fall over.
Right.
Like, well, okay, well, I'll just stay sitting on my bum then. No. So trust that they're going to learn their own experiences. Don't mollycoddle people. Don't mother them. Don't,
You're not a problem solver for them.
Yeah.
Right.
So trust that they have their own genius. And that was when I had a mentor and she said, well, what would you do if this is your client? I was like, da-da-da-da. And she was like, okay. And I heard it and I went, I just coached myself, didn't I? God, I actually know this stuff. Pay $1 million for this mentor. And she goes, and what do you do? I'm like, I'll do that. Okay, clearly. Save myself $1 million. I don't pay $1 million to my mentor, by the way. But it is that trust. Trust them with your genius and trust yourself with the genius. Yeah.
One of the tips that I had shared at this point was just to ask yourself, what is mine to do in this situation, and stay in your lane. One of your favorite ones to say, stay in your lane.
Yeah.
So it's what's mine to do, and not take on ownership for other people's pieces that they need to do. So it's like, maybe you need to say, Kate, this is my part and that's yours. So let's own our zones and take responsibility for what is we're responsible for. Right.
And that's that old saying, not my monkey, not my circus, or not my circus, not my monkey. I don't know what way it goes around, but it is that stay in your lane, stay in your lane, stay in your lane.
Don't create big stories.
And don't bottle it up.
Sorry,
because we talked about my lovely man. Yep, don't bottle it up. Don't bottle it up.
You still have to express it, but you don't necessarily
going to explode.
You don't write ranting letters to people. But you still need to express and allow it to flow through, right?
Yeah. At least.
Yeah.
My one is the look at the benefits of doing it or not doing it. Like, look at the value of what it's actually giving you right now, and it just it calms your farm. That's my cousin would say. It just calms your farm.
Your farm.
Yeah, and this is where my favorite 3 questions come in with Moira. Is this good for me? Is this good for others? And do I want to do it? And when all 3 are a heck yes, it's 100%. But if it's a 2.5 or 2, there's going to be a wobble going on. May not be the whole bigger picture. Yeah.
And like you said when we were talking about it, that you could go ahead if it's a 2.5, but you're guaranteed it will unravel at some point.
And your unraveling will be very different if all 3 were in go and flow.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
The next one I have here is to not beat yourself up. And to your point, this should have been right at the very top. Should have. Oh, look at me.
Should. Well, it should.
But the thing is to celebrate, have gratitude for all that you are and all that other people have, and what you get to experience. So rather than beat yourself up, arrive in the moment and just accept this is where you are. It's all good.
Yeah.
Right.
That's 100% number one, actually. 100% number one. And because that's where it starts. because it is that energy. And when you start beating yourself up, you're just going on a downhill spiral.
Yeah.
You're on that roller coaster and you're going down and it gets faster and faster and faster and you're only holding on.
Yeah, there's
getting
speed.
whiter.
Yeah, definitely.
Great tip. The next tip I've got is what story is coming. I've got at you.
Coming at you.
What story is coming at you? What's that inner critic saying? What is that inner critic saying? And be aware of the outer critic having our opinion. Our opinion.
And asking if it's true. What's the story and is it true?
Yeah. Which is just as simple as hand on heart.
Absolutely.
Hand on heart. But what story is coming at you? Because they come from all ways. And is it yours or is it somebody else's that's coming in?
That's another really good question to ask. Is this mine or is this somebody? Did I inherit it?
Yours.
Yeah. My last tip that I have here is that if you are in a problematic, stuck situation, is to remember your resilience, to realize that if you're in that situation and it feels tough and bumpy and blocky, you are resilient and you can get through it, because if you couldn't, you would not be there. Yes. Yeah,
which is the big cruncher of all our tips. Trust.
That's right.
Trust. And the last tip I'm saying is trust is an inside job.
That's the one. Trust is an inside job.
Trust is an inside job. Yeah. I love those tips.
Me too.
Well, we trust that these have landed with you and they resonate with you and you've learnt some stuff, and other stuff you've had a kick across the butt to go, oh, I knew that. I've heard that before. Yeah, well, I don't know how many times you need to hear it before you get it. But if you heard it again, then
it's for you.
Yeah. And if you didn't hear it the first time, you've heard it now. Yep. So perfect. Yep. So when we talk about do you get stuck with problems or problem solution solving, that's what we've talked about today. And we did a number at the start. We gave ourselves a rating of our emotion from 0 to 10 to see where we're at. And there was a check-in point halfway, and then we're doing the one at the end to see if your number has moved closer to the 0. So this is where you're going to tell us what your number was and where you are now. So Moira, I think you were a 2. You had a frog in your throat, didn't you?
I was a 2 and I had a frog in my throat and I had to mute myself for a while because I was coughing and coughing.
Time on that. Yeah.
But it's all good now.
Yeah.
It's all good now. I'm feeling great. So I'm a 0.
I was going to say, let me guess her number. I am 100% a 0, and I love that this is a great one just to remind myself, and I guess that's, just to remind myself and, about problems and problem solving, these little tips. So let us know what number you're at, people. Let us know what tip you loved, what one you didn't love. If you got more on here, that would be fabulous. But there's one more job for everybody here. And the job is, if you liked today, if you loved today, if you resonated with today, if your number shifted closer to the 0 or anything like that, the next step for you, the next step is to share this podcast with those you care about. Because this stuff we talked about today can put you on the back burner and can immobilize you when you're not feeling of great quality, and it can just immobilize you, and you can just get yourself so stuck that nothing happens. And that's an okay place to be for 10 minutes. But if you
want to shift through that one.
But let's shift that. So if you love today, the next step is absolutely to share this with those you care about, because that's what we're here for. Bring them into the Facebook group, share the podcast, whatever way you're listening to it. That will be inspiring for us and inspiring for you. And it's going to put you into a different conversation with those people.
And help you find your rhythm and flow.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's our deliciously motivated mindset conversation with Debz and Moira. That's us signing off for today. thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us, Moira. That was very helpful today.
Thank you. It was a lot of fun. We both
was-
had some great tips. I loved this.
Yeah, that was a goodie. It was a goodie.
Yeah,
Thank you for that. And thank you, listeners, for joining. And we will hear you next week.
Next week. Thank
You'll
you,
hear
dear
us.
Deb.
Yeah.
Thank you, listeners. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.